Hey guys, Jason Lino here. So the other day I was sitting down watching my old meat footage. That's right, I still watch the footage. I'm pretty proud of it, but I had an epiphany. I kind of more or less sat myself back in that moment, remembering all the frustration I had. Now, it wasn't because I didn't like how the meet went, it's because I really didn't prepare myself. I more or less just went gung-ho, signed up for my meet, and let happen what happened and dealt with it as it came. Now that is something I definitely shouldn't have done because it could have went a lot less stressful. So that's why today I wanted to take the time to give you my top 4 things you need to know for your first powerlifting meet. So let's just get right into it. Signing up for your first powerlifting meet. Now you have 2 options. You're gonna have your local meets and you're gonna have your federation meets. Now your local meets are pretty much just local meets. They're not that strict. You just give them cash, you go into the meet with your gear and you do your lifts. Federation meets are strict and you actually have to pay a federation fee. You have to be a part of the federation before you can actually do their meets. So your normal meet, your local meet, $100, federation, about $100, $130 for your fee, membership fee, and then about $100 for your actual meet. So $100 compared to $230, gotta weigh it out. Now for your first meet, if you just want to try it out, go ahead, do that $100. To be honest, I probably would have did that as well. But since I did just type in Ontario Powerlifting and Ontario Powerlifting Association popped up and I immediately signed up for that and it coincides with IPF, that's what it is. There is a bit of a benefit though doing it federation style is they are strict. You have to have specific equipment and they do drug testing. In your local meets, don't have to have specific equipment and they don't really do drug testing. So there could be that potential freak, but that's your risk to take. Now here comes my second point with the approved gear. In IPF, USAPL, and I believe a few others, you have to have gear off their approved list. Some people find this kind of a pain in the ass because they say, well, it doesn't really matter about the gear, it's the guy doing the lift. IPF thinks differently. It's no big deal. They're just trying to make it as even as possible. And if they say you need to have approved gear, you need to have approved gear. It's like any other sport. You can't go into basketball and just wear track pants. You have to wear your uniform. It's not a big deal, but it is a little bit costly. And especially if you do what I did, I didn't really take an account for any of that until they sent me out my 1 month prior notice, like, hey guys, get ready for your meet, make sure your gear's all approved. I'm like, what do you mean? And all of a sudden I find this approval list, and that sucked because I had to rush to buy all of my lifting gear at the end of a season, and that was costly, like $450. Yep, not that happy about that. But that's my own fault. I could have did my research, like I said, and bought everything when it was cheaper. But since I had to wait till pretty much the last month, I had to get everything shipped in all over Canada and from the US. And that's just my defeat to take. Now, let's get to the meet. When it comes to the actual meet, first thing you're going to need to know is the weigh-ins. Now, obviously, it's more than just weighing in. One thing I didn't know is you have to know your first attempts when they weigh you in. Now, I did know my first attempts, but I didn't know how they were in kilograms or anything like that because I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to pound to kilogram conversions. Luckily, the guy who was doing my weigh-ins had the conversion chart and everything went smoothly, but then there was a little bit of a surprise. Nothing crazy, but you have to weigh in your underwear. Did not know that. Like, I assumed you weren't supposed to wear all your gear, but when he closed that door and looked me in the eyes and said, take off your pants, yeah, it's kind of odd, weirded out by that. In the end, I really didn't care because I don't feel that bad about how I look. But for the people who are sensitive about how they look, it's a lot worse than just wearing a really tight-fitting unitard and doing lifts in front of people. You have to get naked. But after the weigh-ins, we get to the actual meat. And the most important thing you need to know for the meat is the commands. For the love of God, don't be me. Go online, do your research, look into the federation, look into your commands. I did not know that. I knew your basics, but I did not know to the actual degree it got. When you do your lifts, you're not able to just run out and do your lifts. You have to wait for them to say platform is ready. So if you step on there, they can more or less disqualify you until they say platform is ready. Did not know that. Glad I'm not that antsy. But let's get on to the actual squatting. Your squat, you have to walk out. When you unrack that bar, you have to have your knees completely locked. If not, they could call you for it, and you can miss your lift like I almost did with my bench press. Luckily, instead of them calling me for my soft knees, the judge looked at me, looked at my knees, and basically mouthed, lock your knees. So I was fortunate there. But after you lock your knees, they then say squat, you break parallel, so your hip crease has to pass your knee, and then you come back up. You have to lock your knees again and wait for them to say rack. Now, if you guys did watch my video, you'll know I missed my second lift because I did not wait for them to say rack. I was just so pumped full of adrenaline. I hit up, I'm like, yeah, took my first step and missed the lift. It is what it is, but I learned from that because I hit my third lift. Then we'll go on to bench. If you saw my first bench, you know I didn't have the best time with that. Just like squatting, you have to lock your joints, but this time, your elbow joints. So when you unrack the bar, you have to get locked elbow joints. And then they'll say bench, and then you touch your chest, you keep it still, motionless, and then they'll say press, and then you lock your elbows again, and then they'll say rack. Luckily, the only thing I messed up on was, like I mentioned, the elbow thing. I did manage to have a pretty good lift-off guy, so he did help me through it after I messed up the first time, and I was able to get my first bench, all 3 white lights, which is even better, but it was something to definitely keep in mind. Now, when it comes to your deadlifts, the biggest thing to keep in mind here is, for the love of God, don't drop your weights. You do not want to drop your weights. That, if you noticed and you did watch, I did get 1 red light on my first deadlift, and that's because I let my weight down too fast. You have to let it down in a controlled fashion, more or less. Let it down, keep your hands on the bar until those lights go white. Then you know you've actually done the lift properly. But besides faulting in the lift, the only thing you can really do is not lock your knees and hitching. Now, for people that don't know what hitching is, it's when you struggle to lock out the weight. And some people will more or less rest it just a bit above on their knees, on their thighs, and kind of give a jimmy motion to help unlock it. More or less take the downward pressure off of their lower back. This is something they do not like to see because at that point it becomes a multiple movement lift, and that's not something they want. But guys, that's pretty much my top 4 things I need to know. There's probably more, but those are the really only things I struggled with and really the only things I regret. But so hopefully that helps. All right, guys, that's the video. If you have any questions, feel free to just drop a comment down below or get a hold of me on one of my social medias because I'll be more than happy to help. I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. Feel free to drop a comment down below about what you saw or what you guys would like to see next. And also, spread that love by hitting the like, share, and that big fat subscribe down below. And I'll see you guys next time.